I'm Andrew and have created this channel to say some true stories, some of them unbelievable, some of them frightening, and some of them entertaining. Leo had been the night manager at the Sunset Motel for 11 years. He knew its every sigh and creak, the gurgle of the faulty pipe in room 114, the flicker of the neon sign that spelled VAC NCY, the way the ice machine shuddered to life at 2:17 a.m. like clockwork. He knew the clientele, too. Truckers catching a few hours of shut-eye, affair havers paying in cash, and the occasional lost tourist. But mostly, he knew how to be invisible. That was his real job. The new guests in room 217 were different. They'd arrived in 2 black SUVs with tinted windows, a group of 4 men who moved with a tense, coiled energy that put Leo's teeth on edge. They paid for a week in advance with crisp $100 bills and requested no housekeeping. Their leader, a man with cold eyes and a scar through his eyebrow who called himself Mr. Vargas, gave Leo a single instruction. "No one bothers us. We won't bother you." Leo had nodded, his professional mask firmly in place. He'd seen their type before. Not cartel, maybe, but something adjacent. Wannabes or mid-level players. It was none of his business. His business was to run the motel, save every penny he could, and hopefully get his daughter, Chloe, into a better school district. The trouble started on the 3rd night. A commotion from 217. Raised voices, the sound of something breaking. Then, silence. An hour later, the men left in one of the SUVs, speeding out of the parking lot like demons were on their tail. Curiosity, a quiet killer of its own, got the better of him. Using his master key, he slipped into the room once it was quiet. It was a mess, a knocked-over lamp, the faint, coppery smell of blood underneath the lemon-scented cleaner. And there, shoved carelessly under one of the beds, were 2 large black ballistic nylon duffel bags. One was partially unzipped. Leo's breath caught in his throat. It wasn't clothes, it was money. Neat, brick-like bundles of $100 bills wrapped in plastic bands. More money than he had ever seen in his life. More money than the motel made in a decade. His heart hammered against his ribs. This was it. The answer to every problem. Chloe's tuition. The mountain of medical debt from his wife's illness. A life that wasn't measured out in minimum wage and graveyard shifts. But this was suicide. These men would tear the world apart to find their money. The gamble formed in his mind, wild and desperate. They wouldn't report it to the police. They couldn't. Their only option would be to cut their losses and run. They'd assume it was a rival crew, an inside job from their own people. They'd never suspect the invisible night manager. The next few hours were a blur of controlled terror. He waited for the ice machine to shut her on, using its noise to cover his movements. He took one bag, just one. He left the other, making it look like a hasty, panicked grab. He dragged the heavy duffel to the maintenance closet, his ears straining for the sound of returning engines. Back at the front desk, his hands shook as he performed the delicate surgery. He couldn't keep the bag. He emptied a third of the bundles into 3 separate garbage bags, then filled the duffel back up with old towels and phone books from the lost and found, zipping it shut. It had to look normal at a cursory glance. He returned to room 217, his pulse a deafening drum in his ears. He slid the weighted decoy duffel back under the bed, exactly as he'd found it. He was a ghost. The men returned just before dawn. Leo watched them on the grainy security monitor, his body rigid. They went into the room. For a long, agonizing minute, nothing. Then the explosion. Shouts of pure rage. The door to 217 flew open and Mr. Vargas stood there, his face a mask of apocalyptic fury, scanning the empty parking lot. Leo didn't flinch. He just stared at the monitor, the perfect image of a confused, tired night manager. They tore the room apart. They argued amongst themselves, accusations flying. True to his prediction, they didn't come to him. Why would they? He was nobody. After 40 frantic minutes, they packed the remaining duffel, got in their cars, and vanished into the pre-dawn gloom, leaving behind only the stink of fear and violence. The Sunrise Motel was quiet again. At the end of his shift, as the sun painted the sky in innocent shades of pink and orange, Leo took the 3 garbage bags of money. He didn't go home. He drove to 7 different self-storage units across the city, paying for each in cash, storing a few bundles in each one. A fireproof, scattered nest egg. He went about his life. He set up a small college fund for Chloe in her mother's name. He didn't buy a flashy car or quit his job. Leo remained invisible. Weeks turned into months. No men in black SUVs ever returned. Sometimes at 2:17 a.m. when the ice machine groaned to life, Leo would feel a cold sweat prickle on his neck. He had won his gamble, but the prize was a lifetime of listening, of waiting for a sound that might never come. The sound of a car pulling into the lot that didn't belong, and a man with a scar through his eyebrow asking for his money back.